Okay. I gotta be honest, I'm actually a little bit nervous about today's stream. I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be nervous at all, but I am because we're gonna be doing some setup live, and setup live is always a little bit scary, if you will. But I will say I'm excited. So we're gonna try some new stuff here. So I actually, what's also crazy, while we let a few people hopefully pop in here. If you're here, say hello for sure. Um, John, what is up, my friend? Good to see you. Ah, I know. I've missed you as well. So hopefully you're doing well. So we're in Studio B today, John. If you've missed the previous videos this week, Tommy's been here. He's been hanging out. He knows what's going on. We're setting up a second studio. So I'll have two studios, right? I'll have two studios. So I will always be here in that is awesome. I subscribed to your channel, by the way, Tommy, and I was going to join this morning's stream, and for some reason, I thought I had it set to notify me, and it didn't, and so I missed it again. But it's okay. I'm gonna pop in live, that's for sure. Tommy's got an interesting concept for his channel. You guys need to go check it out. That's for sure. Very cool stuff, especially those 80s and 90s babies. Okay, here's the deal. Here's what we're going to do. Okay, so, I was getting ready to say this. One of the things that is, oh, that's interesting. Okay. Very interesting. All right. So I actually have my big screen TV. It's actually literally, I'm looking at it. I was like, I can use that as a monitor. Then I can make sure that things are looking the way they're supposed to. What's really weird is I'm seeing a double overlay of the chat right now. So I noticed that it was on. This has to be a bug. This is a glitch of some sort. So I didn't have it selected and it was showing the chat. Is that an OBS thing? No, I don't think so. And then I was like, wait, so I clicked it and then it was on there twice. Very weird, you guys. I don't know what's going on. I really have no idea what's going on. I don't think it's done that before, but okay, let's see. I don't think it's like no. I mean, I'm using OBS virtual camera. I'm using StreamYard. StreamYard's got the new chat overlay feature, um, which I don't, you know what it is? I know what it is. I think I have it set on my TV. I do. Hold on a second. Let me. Yes, that's what it is. Okay, back to it. That is okay. That is very weird. I apologize. Okay, very strange. Also, another thing to note, because more and more people are watching YouTube content on their TVs. So now I've got the chat overlay back on, and basically my TV has the chat overlay also on. So it was like double showing it. And I was like, what's happening right now? Yes, James right there. He said it. He already knew. Look how fast he is. Big screen might be showing the monitor instead of actual output. Boom. It's actually showing, I'm actually watching it from the YouTube app as like a viewer. So that helps me see, it's like being like monitoring your own stuff. I've never done that before. I know a lot of people do that. I have literally never done that. So anyway, and so to answer your question really quick, Tommy, no, I'm still using StreamYard 100%, and I'm using OBS virtual camera. So what you see in the webcam view is what is being done in OBS. So I'm using them together basically. And what that does, to be honest with you, right now, it saves me a chunk of money per month because really the main difference, at least for someone like me, the main difference between the medium package with StreamYard and the pro package is the extra camera feature inside the StreamYard studio, which is super great and it's very convenient. But to me, if I want to achieve that same thing, I can also do it with OBS. I also like a few of the added customizations that OBS allows me to do. And so I just enjoy it. I like it. I like using it. It's pretty simple. It's gotten simpler, actually, in my opinion. So anyway, all right. So here's what we got. Here's what we're doing today. Like I said, and I'm nervous about this today. So we're going to be doing a changeover while we're live. So right now you're hearing the Shure MV7. This is via a USB cable, a USB-C cable. So it's coming out of the mic, going into the back of my docking station via USB-C. And it's got the, let's take a look and see what settings we're using right now, because honestly, I have lost track. Let me open up the, oh my gosh. I've also got my laptop open so that I can have a second monitor today because I think I'm going to need it. So it's thrown me off a little bit too. There you go. So we're on manual mode. I actually went back and listened to yesterday's stream, those of you that were live, and I felt like the best settings were manual with the compressor on. It had been off before. That compressor being on really bumped up the audio level, so the mic being quiet was my biggest issue. It did help bump it up, so that's where we were. I still don't love the way it sounds. There's a lack of depth in the audio from me right now, and I don't know if I'm just being overly picky or what. I'm not like letting it hold me back. I'm just kind of like, hey, while I've got the time in my schedule and we're having fun, might as well do some tinkering, and gives me an easy excuse to hang out with you guys and kind of bring you along on the journey, which is really what I've always done, if you think about it. So, okay, so that's what we've got right now. USB, this is the current settings for the Shure. This is what you're listening to right now. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be moving over to the, we're going to be moving over to the XLR setup. And here's where I came to this conclusion. This is how I came to this conclusion, I guess is what I should say, is today I was kind of thinking about it and I was deciding, well, I want to have a Stream Deck. As you guys know, my goal up here in the Studio B is to keep it very simple because it is also where I work. It's where I want to continue to work. It's where I want to continue to do my business work, my admin work, just my work function, not necessarily creative function. However, I want to be able to be creative in here. So we're going to make it a dual purpose. What I don't want it to turn into is some big hodgepodge of wires and desk clutter of devices and things and all the stuff. I don't want that. I want lights everywhere, which is why we've been trying to dial this in. So right now I actually, I'm using the Sony ZV-E10. Or is that the A61? That's the A61. No, that's the ZV-E10. ZV-E10, I did put the Sigma lens back on it last night, and that's what we're using today. I've got auto ISO and I've got auto white balance, which the high-tech creative gods would be cursing me right now. But here's the deal. Because of the window, and because of the way that the light can shift from day to day, because we're in a natural lighting environment, that auto setting is what we need to do. And it looks fine. I used to have this thing where it's like, oh, don't put it on auto, put it on manual and dial it in. Screw that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that up here. So basically what we've got is we've got a very, see, Hicks. He's like, I'm cringing, but it works. It's working for what we're doing, right? It's working for what we're doing today, and it's working for where we need to be. So that's the whole point. Okay. So auto is where it is. This Studio B is on auto. It's going to be on auto for a number of things. Okay. So again, the goal is to keep it simple. So today, when I was doing something, I'm using OBS and I'm going to also be recording podcast episodes up here. I'm like, I'm going to want my Stream Deck. And I've not really been a big, I'm not a super user of Stream Deck, but man, there are some things I love about it. So today I was like, we need to get the Stream Deck installed. This is part of the setup that needs to be a part of the setup. Also, I really think that with some other apps and other things, there's so much you can use the Stream Deck for, and I would like to actually get better about implementing that in the workflows. So my point is that when I decided that we're going to add the Stream Deck, I was like, Um, well, you know what else is sitting in that cabinet behind you is that real cool XLR dock that you bought that you've literally never used, like ever. I don't think I have literally ever used this thing. So yeah, gas, right? That's what we get sometimes. So anyway, I was like, that's not an extra piece of hardware because it's going to mount to the back of the Stream Deck. And so you get two devices in one. So I'm like, already decided we're going to use the Stream Deck Plus, not adding clutter, not adding more devices, simply just enhancing this device. And then the other thing is ports and cables, right? I want to keep the portage, as I call it, and the cabling to a minimum. That's one of the other reasons I'm done with the Streamer X. You have to plug it in, has to be powered, all these things. I'm like, no, I don't want all that. And so basically what I decided is I'm like, hey, we are literally swapping cable for cable. So this USB cable is going to be out. The XLR cable is going to go in. It's going to go into the back of the Stream Deck dock. And then the dock, the Stream Deck, is going to be going into the exact same port that the microphone is currently going into. So we are literally making a swap for swap here. The only thing that we're adding is we're adding the Stream Deck Plus to the setup and to the desk, which I was going to do regardless. And so because of that, even though the other day I was like, no XLR, I'm done. I even put the cables in the cabinet and I was like, I'm done with the XLR. Here we are. So we're going to see if the XLR sounds better. That's the goal. Again, I think the audio sounds good. I think it's better than most, I think, honestly. However, I'm just like, while we're tinkering, let's do some tinkering and let's have some freaking fun while we do it, right? So, all right, we've got some fun people here with hanging out with us today. I saw MC, as I call you now, by the way, because I think that's what Doc Rock called you. But Marianne said she's here from Sydney. What's up? Good to see you. I love it. And then I saw somebody else. Oh, U-Haul TV's here. What's up? Good to see you. Always love seeing you in the chat for sure. Um, Okay, Fixer Point. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. He says, I always enjoy your lives. Your setup is great. Can break down your camera setup as well. Thanks, Mel. Yeah, so here's the deal. In the description, I actually have the setup. So I did that on purpose because I do get asked that question a lot. I actually think I just actually ran down it anyway, maybe right after you or right before you joined. But it's in the description of this live. I put that in there. I am really flopping this thing around. I'm going to set that down. It's in the description for you so you can see the exact setup. The only thing I think I didn't list is the capture card or the go whatever the heck it's called. The Goni, I think, the dummy battery. But anyway, it's in there. So, okay, let's see. Yeah, so James is pointing something out that I have thought about. He says you could also use the virtual Stream Deck and not anything on the desk. I don't really want to do that. I really just don't want to have to deal with having. I know the virtual Stream Deck is available and I think it's really cool. I actually think it's probably a great solution for content creators when they are not in their home studios. For me personally, I already own the Stream Decks, so I'm not buying anything in addition. Um, I don't want to have to rely on the app on my phone or an iPad because it's still a device. Because I like to be free. I don't want to rely on this. That's another reason why I don't use my um I don't use my like NDI or whatever I think it's called. Some people will use their phone as a second webcam. I don't do that either because I'm just like, no, I need to have my phone. Like, what if Addie calls me and whatever? So James says I'm clipping a little bit, maybe. So let me know, you guys. Just let me know. All right, here's what we've got. Do do do. Okay, so we are going to start with, so before I went live, I actually went ahead and made sure that I installed the Stream Deck software and the Wavelength software because those are going to come into play. That way we weren't doing any installation of software while we were live. But I am going to unplug this because I have to take it apart. So the way that this works, make sure y'all can still, I want to double check one thing really quick. Yep. Okay, good. I was like, because when I unplugged this, I didn't know if it was going to mess with something else that might be playing a factor, but it's not. So you guys should still hear me, so it's good. Okay, let's see. Where was I? Oh yeah. So here's the way it works. Oh gosh, about dropped it. I have to take the base off and then install this instead. So this comes off and then this goes into the back. There's a little USB connector, and when you connect it, you screw them together and they go together. So that's what we're going to do first. So I am going to all this thing on the bottom it's just a base. So nothing too crazy. I'm just gonna see, this is when a secondary camera is helpful because I could have another camera pointing at what I'm doing on the desk. But you know what? For the sake of what we're here for and what we're trying to do, I didn't want to take the time to do that. You guys are lucky you got a thumbnail for this stream. First of all, I was tinkering and I was literally like, this is like a fun thing to go live with and tinker live. That was really easy to take off. So again, just a base, nothing too crazy about it. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to put these screws here and we are going to plug this together. All right. So I'm going to try to do this so that you can see it. I don't have product. There we go. So as you can see, these are going to go together now, and then they're going to screw into the bottom. And I think, when you're doing something like that, you should be, a little careful because you don't want to damage your connector. So now it's together and we're just going to screw it together so that it's together. And same thing, there's buttons and knobs on the other side. So just be careful where you set it if you're doing this. So now we're going to screw it together super fast. Nothing crazy going on. How's everybody doing, by the way? Are you guys sick of me yet? This is the third day that I've gone live in a row. And by the way, I'm doing Pat Flynn's 14-day shorts challenge. I posted a video last night into the shorts over on Instagram as well. Same handle, Melanie Diane. And old James shared it on his because I'm wearing one of his shirts that you can buy on his website. So super fun, right? Let's see here. Okay. So now it is connected. All right. Now, if this thing works the way it's supposed to, all we have to do is plug it in and it should still, I recommend doing that first. So we're going to plug it into the computer first to make sure that it's operating. All right. Let's see. Okay. Yes, it's works. It's plugged in. So when you first get your Stream Deck, it's going to come with like a default profile. The coloring is really struggling on that. So it's got like just, some standard stuff. You can then customize your profile from there. So basically what we're going to do next is I am going to unhook the Shure MV7 microphone with this USB cable. And then I'm going to plug in the XLR cable, which I have right here. So Stream Deck's plugged in. It's working. It looks like it's functional. I am going to swap profiles. There we go. All right. Yep. Very cool. So one thing that's nice is I can see, because I already did this a little bit, right here, I can actually see the level that's the microphone, as you can see. So that is monitoring in the Wavelink application, the MV7 mic as it's hooked up right now. That's going to break once I unplug it, and then we're going to need to kind of remap it, I think. So that's what we're going to do next. So I'm going to go quiet for a minute while I swap this out. I hope it's a quick change. I hope it's nothing too significant. It shouldn't be because I do have an extra USB-C port on my docking station, and so I didn't have to unhook one before I plugged in the other, which is nice. It really is also helpful when you put the right end of the XLR cable on the right part. All right, because these do have male and female ends. All right, so we are plugged in to the dock. Next, I'm going to put this on the desk in a different spot. Good Lord. And then we can figure out cable management later, but get these things out of my way. Next, I'm going to unplug and replug. Oh, I was muted. That's interesting. It automatically muted me, I think, when I unplugged. Okay, this is just plugged in raw right now. So I have no idea. You guys are you're my people right now. I feel like it's already louder by looking at what I'm seeing. But you guys got to tell me because I'm not doing any kind of monitoring. I do not want to turn the volume up on the TV. I totally could, but then that's just going to be super distracting. Tell me what you guys think. It shows that the microphone is registering. It looks like it's louder. I mean, it's registering in StreamYard significantly louder. Check. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I've also got OBS open and I definitely have an audio monitor in there and it is definitely hotter. So it should be louder. Here we go. Tell me what you guys think. Okay. All right. So I'm going to keep going. So the good news is that the changeover was easy to do, right? That was fairly quick, fairly painless. Again, cables and things like that, we can figure all that out later. Ooh, that's annoying. It's okay. We're not going to worry about that right now. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way though because this cable is no longer even needed. All right, that's off the desk. Okay, so basically we're good. So now what we're going to do next is I'm going to open up the Wavelink app and we're going to do a little bit of playing around in there. Let me move this down. Move my OBS. There we go. Okay. Now we're ready. Let's see. What's up, Alec? Good to see you here. All right. I'm just going to share my whole screen, I think. Sorry, I didn't have this set up. Okay, there we go. So here's what we've got. We've got, I'm going to go with changing this up too. I'll take that off real quick. Okay, so basically this is the Wavelink app, right? So it's already showing, it automatically added the XLR dock as a channel. As you can see, the Shure MV7 as the microphone as it was input before is still here, except it's actually not, I mean, there's nothing happening because I unplugged it. If you use a Elgato product with with Wavelink, it automatically recognizes it. You used to have an Elgato product, an audio product to use the Wavelink app. And the reason why I actually never did use the dock, the XLR dock, is because you couldn't use two devices. It made no sense to me. I was like, are you serious? So you could not use two audio devices. So I always like my Elgato Wave 3. And because I had some tech issues and times, I kind of like whenever I had this Shure mic set up, XLR, I pretty much still had my Wave 3 set up as well as a backup. So I didn't love the idea of not being able to have that. So I just kind of was like, screw it, it's fine. And I put it away and I never used it. So here we are today. But now you can use the Wavelink application regardless of having any Elgato products. It's actually free for anyone. They've made it free for everybody. So that's now an awesome free software. What's John? Good to see you. He says, are you using Wavelink 2.0 or 3.0? 3.0 for sure. In fact, I think we're already on 3.3. I think they've already said 2 updates. So yeah, so Wavelink 2.0 that does require you to have an audio device. But if you've moved to Wavelength 3.0, this is where you are. Wavelength 3.0 is the Go Forward app. It's got some changes to it. There's some changes I actually don't like, and then there's some that I think are great. But it's so great to see you, John, here live. I'm literally been live 3 days in a row now. We're just playing around with all kinds of stuff, setting up Studio B. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, I was actually, he said, so Wavelength 3.0 is still a little bit buggy. So I went back to 2.0 with my Stream Deck Plus. Okay, good to know. Appreciate that for sure. I remember when Wavelength came out, man, it was super buggy. Gosh, so was the Beacon Mix Create. That software was insanely buggy. But yeah, like anytime you have a new application come out, they always beta launch it first with people that are willing to test it beta, and then they launch it, globally. And I know they've had some bugs because, in fact, I think like the last update had a huge list of bug fixes. So, John, I don't know how recently you've played around with it, but I'll keep that in mind for sure. So, anytime you adopt any kind of new application, you're going to run into some potential bugs. That's for sure. So, definitely will be careful about that. Appreciate the heads up. Okay, so basically, what we're looking at is we can see here the level. I can adjust this. It's at 100%. So I can move this down, and then I just got quieter, right? So again, this gives us some additional controls. The other thing that you get when you use an Elgato product is you get these automatic like audio effects. So let's go ahead. This is why I was really curious. I was really wanting to see two things. One, can I get the mic to be even louder? And two, what can we do with the EQ, if anything, right? And that's sort of what I wanted to try. It looks like we've got hardware effects only, sound check, sure. And I haven't played with any of this. Personal mix. So here's yeah, I haven't added it yet. So so you guys are hearing just the XLR dock. Let's do this. He says, be aware. I love Wavelength. Annie Betty tested it. Most know I love Wavelength. It's really powerful. Yes, you do. In fact, it's funny because there was a phase where I was having a lot of frustrations, and you were like, I don't have any problems. I'm not having any of these problems. I think that something I've discovered for sure is that there's been some situations, I think, in my past where I've not used the proper cabling. Like, there's different speeds and things with cables, and I don't know. I think I was possibly having issues with that, but I think we're good to go with that now. All right, so here's what I was wanting to see. So I'm going to switch this over and see. I'm curious if you guys hear a difference, because right now the mic in StreamYard it just says mic in Elgato XLR Dock. So even when I adjusted that volume earlier, that may not have changed. But let's now go to the stream mix. Oh my God, I can't see it. There we go. Okay, so now what you should be hearing, as you can see here, this is what you should be hearing right here. So we're gonna go in. No, what you can do, add effect. Yeah, there's no audio effects available. So one of the things that's another thing that I really like about the Wave 3 microphones is they come with built-in, I think they're called VSPs or whatever. Again, not an audio engineer. We covered that yesterday. They come with built-in settings that you can adjust. And so you can bring up the bass in your voice and things like that, which is something that I really like. And that is something that I felt very limited with the Motive Mix app that comes with the Shure MV7 is, we went through all those settings yesterday. So if you were there, or if you watched that, or go watch the replay if you really want to, but we just went through all the settings to see how it sounded. There really wasn't a ton of variation in a lot of it. And I still just felt like I wasn't achieving the audio that I felt like I could get. And quite frankly, I wasn't getting the audio that I felt like I used to get with this mic. And I know that the microphone is going to should sound better via XLR than USB. That was always the case when I used this mic a long time ago, but I was curious how it was going to kind of turn out today. And so that's why I was like, well, if we're going to use the Stream Deck Plus, we might as well hook up the XLR dock and go with the XLR cable and just try it out and see if we like it. I would say that the only disadvantage, as I'm kind of here now, is the XLR cable going into the back of the Stream Deck is creating a little bit of desk clutter, whereas the USB cable coming out of the mic, I could kind of have it go behind a lot of things, and it went behind my kind of setup here into the dock, my docking station that is like under this like shelf thing I have. So it was a little bit easier to kind of get the cable kind of totally out. Right now, it's like, yeah, well, if I know what I need to do, but it's like, depending on where I put my Stream Deck, that could be a problem too. So, because again, I'm trying to keep it simple and I'm trying to keep the clutter down. That is for crying out loud the truth. Okay, so with this also, and I know that you can add voice effects. John knows all about this stuff and probably just needs to. I probably need to like schedule a session with him or something. But one of the other things is that with the Stream Deck Plus is you have the ability to customize and set up knobs to adjust those levels in the mix, the mixes you just saw. So for example, I haven't set it up on this particular system, but I will, is the ability to stream and control the audio level of a Chrome browser audio so that I can play, epidemic sound, for example. So if I'm tinkering up here, if I'm wanting to, again, possibly have some audio effects and things like that, I will put them into these buttons. And then I will also be able to adjust the music level if I want to do that. So that's one of the other reasons why, if I am going to be recording podcasts up here, I want to be able to have the ability to make that workflow of recording easier. So, having your audio as you're recording instead of doing it in post-production is just so much simpler and just quite frankly easier in my opinion. That's why I was kind of going for that concept. So another reason why I wanted to go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and do the Stream Deck Plus, because I think you are going to use it and therefore the dock. So let me show you real fast. So it's real easy. Once you're in here, you just, oops, I don't know why. Oh, that's why. So basically you've got keys and you've got dials, and you have to add the various plugins. And so I added the Wavelength plugin. So these are for the keys. So an audio effect basically is like you click it and it plays a sound effect. So once I get my sound effects kind of adjusted, then I'll have like that snap noise that I like to play sometimes, or anything else, right? And then something else that can be done in here is our dials. And that's what I want to do, is I want to get these set up. So right now, the dial that's here is actually from the MV7 when I first plugged it in. Now I need to change that, right? We've got to change that over. Creative ladies here. Hello. Let's see. So we want to change that to the XLR dock. Okay. So that now shows me anything that I'm going to have plugged into the XLR dock, which is the MV7. So I'm not going to retitle this because that's what's plugged in. And that's the only thing that's ever going to be plugged in, because the only other XLR microphone I had was the Rode Pod mic, which I sold on Poshmark, and that thing's gone. So the MV7 is fine to leave that as the name. And then it shows me my level, so I can always see like where I'm at registering. And then Stream Mix, which is here right next to it, that's anything that I have in the stream channel, or the stream mix, which is this. So anything I add in here would be part of that stream mix. So when I go to add epidemic sound, then that's what I guess we can do that if we want. We'll do it later. If I'm at epidemic sound, I'm going to open up the Chrome browser. And once it's open, it'll show up as an option. And when I click create channel, it's going to be the Chrome browser. And then I can add it to personal mix, because I obviously want to be able to hear it through my speakers. And that's the output that is this. And then I also, I want you to hear it, then I'm going to add it to the stream mix. So anything that goes into this stream mix column is what is going to get output to you, as long as I have that selected as my microphone inside StreamYard. But inside the Stream Deck, that's this here. So if I wanted to change that audio level, all I have to do is change the dial on the hardware in front of me. So as you can see, as it changes, that's because I'm turning it down and turning it back up. And so if you all say, you're too loud, I can just turn everything down right here, right? Or I can also adjust the microphone now. Right now it is at 84%. So if you guys said we can barely hear you, then I can turn it up and I can see right here on the app that I'm, kind of hitting into the yellow. You never want to hit the red. The red is you peaking, it's too loud. Yellow is even a little bit like maybe right now it's at 99%. So, just kind of figuring out where you want to be. And then I can also go into the dial and it says adjust, it's adjusting at 5% increments. I can make that way less so that I can really dial it in and be like at 85 or 86% now. So that's what all that is. So again, the whole point of the Stream Deck Plus was to be able to have multiple things going for me, but mostly to be able to adjust the audio levels, adjust some things so that as I'm recording certain things, I can do that and do it all seamlessly up here. John says, so with the dock, do you have the clip guard on? I have both docks. Aren't they nifty? Am I clipping? Because James texted me and said I was maybe clipping a little bit too, which means I'm probably just too much gain, right? I don't know. Let's see. How do you do that? I don't know if I know how to change the dock settings. Let me go into my wavelength dock. Low cut filter is on. Voice focus is on. I don't see a clip guard. Is that what that is? Let's turn that off. So I turned it off. That's not a clip guard. A clip guard is actually, when it essentially keeps you from peaking and clipping. Cause like when you yell, the mic is gonna, get weird and it's called clipping because that's kind of what it sounds like. It's clipping your voice. So am I clipping? Is that what's happening? But yeah, so now we're at that. So I do like the voice focus. That's a kind of a newer effect that they added. Again, these are all things happening in software. This doesn't like any piece of hardware that is going through the digital audio interface can be altered. And I can also add effects. There, I don't have any on my computer, which is why I think that's saying none available. But I could go like download something from, I think, the Elgato Marketplace, like an EQ, and then add it in here. And then I would be able to do that if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's how that works. I've just never done it. So he said, you did one time only when I came in and you said hi. Okay. Um, and I wonder if, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what would cause me to clip, honestly, but that is a beautiful thing about another great thing about the Elgato Wave 3 microphone that I love is it has an amazing clip guard in it, and it's easy. It's like all the settings that came with that microphone are fantastic. I did order the new one, the Elgato Wave 3 MK2. It's not shipping until like June now. It kept saying it was going to ship. It said it was going to ship at the end of March. And then it said it was going to ship like early April. And then the other day it said, here's your update. It wasn't even like we're so sorry. It was like, here's the updated ship date. It was like June something. I'm like, geez, like that's insane. Good for you, Elgato, but are you serious? So anyway, but I should also mention that the dock that I have inside in this Stream Deck is totally the original XLR dock. It's not the MK2. So the main differences, I believe, have to do with the processing. So the audio processing happens in the hardware, which creates even lower latency, especially so if you're like listening to yourself while you're doing a lot of this. If I were to be listening, if I had headphones plugged in to the back of the dock right now, there would be a delay. So I would literally say it and then I'd hear it a few milliseconds after. That is one of the most distracting and annoying things you could experience. So I used to love to record my podcasts and just have headphones in Another thing, if I were using the USB version of this mic, I could plug my headphone jack into the back of the microphone and I would be able to listen to myself with no latency. Same with the Elgato Wave 3. Now that they've got the audio processing happening inside the hardware, the latency is supposed to be practically zero. I'm not 100% sure if I believe that, but you never know. So anyway, that's it. John says, you sound great, really. Okay, good. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. So that was really what I wanted to accomplish today. I just kind of wanted to get this set up. I thought, why not challenge myself and do a little live, a little live set up demo, not I mean, yeah, I guess demo a little bit, but and then see how and then go back and listen to it again. And I could just do this and I could record videos and I could test it myself, but I got to be honest, I've really missed just being live and being tinkering live and just being with you and just love it when you guys come and hang out with me while I figure this stuff out. And what's interesting is I've had a lot of people reach out and say they've missed the streams where I was literally doing stuff like this. Like, I'm not sure how it's going to go and like figuring stuff out or just explore or guys, look what I just discovered today. And then like sort of like sharing it, like kind of on the cuff. And what's really interesting is I used to do that a lot in my private Facebook group. I think it's still there. It's called DIY Marketing with Melanie. I haven't done anything in that group in years. And where that group fell apart for me is when the whole game changed and Facebook changed their API and going live in Facebook groups became, one, very clunky, a little bit unreliable, and two, when you're using third-party software, you can't see the comments. You can't see who's making those comments and you can't really do much. And so it completely changed the experience for me and for the audience in there. And so and then that in combination with just, the corporate job taking over and everything else, it kind of just, it was the lowest of the low priorities. However, it dawned on me. I'm like, that's where I used to do a lot of those live streams where I would just go live and it felt safe because it was kind of a playground, right? And the people in that group, I think, just kind of were like, oh, I don't have, I pop in and if I want to hang out, I can, and I learned something and whatever. I don't know. It was like just like a community. That's the whole point of Facebook groups is it's community, right? And so, do I think that doing a random pop-up lives all the time on my public YouTube channel is a good idea? Quite frankly, I have no freaking idea, but it's better than nothing. And it's kind of like I've been saying in like the short video I posted last night, your worst video is the one you don't make. So is it the best video? It is right now because it's the one I'm making and it's better than me not making one. That's how I feel. So unless you do something that's like super detrimental or incredibly polarizing, I mean, it is what it is. You are who you are. And so you're going to attract the people you attract and you're going to repel the people that aren't a good fit. And so it's like, bye-bye, see you later, have a nice day. So that's where we're at with all this. So, I mean, in a way, I don't know what the future of these live streams look like right now, since I'm in between these journeys of my career and things. And I want to get back to working with clients again and coaching again and offering programs again. It's like, let's go. So, I haven't really stopped caring. It's just, my alignment changed. And so I feel like we're realigning, we're recalibrating. And so who knows? Maybe I'll be back again tomorrow, hanging out and just, I'm not really even sure. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to just once again say thanks y'all for being here. This is fun. I'm just glad we didn't run into any hiccups really, except for maybe a little bit of clipping. And I feel it like sometimes when I stream and I get excited, my face starts, like my nose always gets red and my ears get hot. And honestly, I think it's because the temps outside are finally warming up today, and it's actually getting warm in here. So I'm going to crack open the window. I love springtime. Man, I just love springtime. So it's super fun. John says, I do all my tinkering on Facebook. Marianne said, when I see live, it's like seeing a friend when out and about and great catching up. Oh, that just makes me feel warm and fuzzy. And that's really what I want. Like, that's like the vibe that I want my lives to be, is it to be like we're hanging out and just doing whatever, especially when I'm tinkering. For me, I don't want you to feel like you have to be engaging. I just want you to enjoy even if you're passively here, like while you're doing something else, which I think a lot of people are doing when they're watching a live. They're watching it passively. They're, doing something else, they're multitasking and whatnot. So to me, that's the whole point is I just kind of want to, I don't know. It's like we're hanging out. You're sitting in the chair next to me while I'm over here working on my stuff. It's kind of how I feel. And that's that's the vibe I want to create. So Tommy says it's enjoyable. I love it. Well, all right, until the next project that I decide to bring you on with, I'm actually going to go figure out what my short video is going to be for today. Because again, I'm doing the Pat Flynn 14-day challenge for the shorts, and honestly, I feel just so excited about it. I made a video last night, and it was I probably overthought it more than I kind of needed to as far as the actual like filming of it, just that part of it. But it's really cool how much easier some of this stuff is than it was when we were first starting. Like I even was like, well, what app am I going to edit this video with? I could use Canva, I could use CapCut, or I could use Instagram Edits, which is quite frankly a very easy and pretty friendly app to use. I chose not to do it at the end because I actually started in there and then I was like, well, I'm putting this on YouTube Shorts and I need to make sure there aren't any funky things with like sound effects and stuff like that. So I actually just ended up using CapCut at the end of the day and I did it in there. But I'll be totally honest with you, something else that's really the reason I'm excited about this is because I've always known and wanted and needed to do shorts. And so I like the push that this is giving me. But I really also am pretty impressed with StreamYard's AI clips function. It's actually pretty strong. I was very skeptical because I've used a lot of AI or I've been part of AI clips when I've been a guest in other people's content, and I've never been impressed. I just have always been like, yeah, it feels like somebody used AI and then didn't go back and edit it or check it, or it just, I don't know, doesn't always impress me that much. And I can kind of, but I'll be honest, it's really pretty fabulous. I used it and then I went back and I was like, okay, let's see what it did. It did a pretty good job of picking highlights that were like good to be highlights. It edited them pretty closely to where I would have edited them as far as the start and the stop. And then it did transcriptions, which were spot on. I think as of right now, inside the StreamYard app, you cannot edit the transcription. I would almost guarantee that's an edit coming. But right now, I don't think you can go override the text that it does. So, but you can edit the trimming, you can edit the placement. So if you're like, oh no, I actually don't want that last word to be in there, you can trim it and change all that. And then you can export it. I was very impressed with how simple that process was, especially for just a workflow standpoint. Again, does it have all the robust features of Canva and CapCut and Instagram edits? No, but from a workflow standpoint, I was very, very impressed. So when you do a stream and you feel like, you want to go and find some nuggets out of there and you want to use the AI and you're on that paid plan and you can afford it, I was impressed. I don't like features that don't work. The feature worked. I was like, let's go. So another reason I'm excited to kind of be embracing the shorts is because I feel like I have another tool that is not full of friction on pulling out some good nuggets when I feel like I have them. So, because that's half the work, right? Is you go back, you're like, now I got to go watch this stream again and see if I said anything great. And then I got to determine if it's okay. And then I got to figure out how to just trim out that part, blah, blah, blah. Like really painful process. That, not painful at all. So very happy about it. Excited for the StreamYard team continuing to do more and more enhancements to the product because I still think it's a great tool. So, all right. We're going to really end it this time. You guys are great. Love it. You guys are fantastic. Really, really, really appreciate you guys. So I hope you guys have a great day and go do something awesome. All right. See you guys.